Today we're going to make some skyscrapers. We looked at a picture of New York and the Chrysler Building from a helicopter and saw that you could see the tops of the buildings, but not really anything down on the ground because the buildings are so tall. And there's also a lot of overlapping. You don't see all of one building very often when you take a picture in the city. So we're going to try to draw a city. And as long as you follow directions, it should be the best city you have ever drawn in your entire life. To start out, you need a piece of white paper and a ruler. You're also going to need two little diamond-like shapes, parallelograms, if you will, and they need to be different in size. They cannot be exactly the same. And your paper can go vertically or horizontally. I tend to work horizontally. Make sure your name's on the back in the corner. We want it in the corner in case we make a gigantic mistake and have to flip it over. Take your diamonds, and if you're doing the long version of this project, you're going to need to trace them until you have about 10 diamonds on your page. If you're doing the short version, we're going to shoot for 5 or 6. So take all of your diamonds and trace them. I now have about 10 diamonds on my page, and I even have some where I've changed the direction a little bit, or I have one going off the page. For the next step, we need our ruler. Now, if you remember, vertical lines, they go one way, and that is straight up and down, which means the vertical lines that we're going to add, your ruler will be parallel with the side of your paper. If your ruler is ever doing this and you're trying to draw a line, is it vertical? No, it's diagonal, and then it'll look like your whole building's falling down. We have to start with the diamonds that are close to the bottom of your page. And we're trying to draw lines from every single corner where it can go down and not go through the diamond. If it goes through the diamond, that means your roof is kind of see-through, and that's not what we want right now. So I'm going to start with this guy because he's the lowest one on the page and draw 3 lines that go straight down. They're vertical. Then skip to the next lowest building, and so on. When you get to a section like this, you draw your line till it either hits another building or hits the bottom of the page, whichever comes first. So repeat with all of your buildings. Depending on the angle of how you put your diamond shape, some of your buildings might only have 2 lines that go down instead of 3. All right, all of my buildings now have walls. That's a good thing. Next, we need to add windows or some kind of sign on your building. Maybe it's a TV screen on your building, whatever you want it to be because it's your city. One thing we have to keep in mind, parallel lines are very handy. If we start with this building, for example, I'm paying attention to the bottom of the rooftop, not the top edge. And I want to draw lines for my windows that are parallel with that. So I line my ruler up with the bottom of it, slide it down, make a line. I'm going to repeat this all the way down. This is the fast way to make a lot of windows. And I can add some vertical lines in here. Now it looks like that building's covered in massive panes of glass. The other side is a little bit trickier. You have to think first. It has to go the same direction as the bottom of the roof, and it has to match up with the first lines that you drew. So make them angle up all the way down. Add a couple vertical lines. Now that building is covered in glass. You could make a very large sign on your building. I still have to follow the same rules. Top of the sign is parallel with the bottom of the roof. Same thing down here. Add some vertical lines. And write whatever your sign's going to be for. You could do windows that are a little smaller. It's the same idea. Top and bottom of the windows are parallel with the bottom of the roof. And then add vertical lines. And then they switch on the other side. But they're always parallel with the bottom of the roof. And use your ruler for everything that's straight, and then your city will look like $1,000,000. If you want your buildings to have multiple levels where it's not just one big rectangle going down, we can build on to the building. I'm going to use those parallel lines again, but this time I'm going to use them on the roof. Draw 2 lines parallel with the bottom of the roof, and then I'm going to add some vertical lines and find our parallel lines again. And then we need a top. So parallel line, scoot back. Same thing on the other side, parallel line, scoot back. And then it's see-through! We have to fix that problem. So take an eraser, erase anything you don't need. So now this building has multiple layers. If I wanted to add things on top of the roof, like maybe there's a pool on the roof. There's my pool. Make it look 3D, but safety is our concern, so we don't want any of your people falling off. I have to make sure I add some kind of a fence to the building. So I added vertical lines to every corner, add some of those good old parallel lines, parallel with the rooftop. And then I can put in some more verticals, and now I have a railing so none of my people can fall off. Then we'll have to add some kind of a trap door, that way people can get to the top of the roof. So here's my trapdoor with a little ladder so people can climb up and get to the swimming pool on the rooftop. You can have buildings connected one to the other. I could add some kind of a skywalk between these two. If I put in more of those parallel lines, add some vertical lines, and then lines that match the rooftop for whichever building they're on. Once again, anything that's see-through, go back and erase. Get rid of any of the lines that you don't need. I could put a line of windows in here so maybe people can see when they're walking from one building to the other. You can have a slip and slide coming out of your buildings. You could come up with some kind of a theme for your city. Maybe it's all superhero city. You have Iron Man flying overhead. So figure out what you can do with it. And if you have anything living, you don't have to worry about the ruler. And here's one of my finished cities. I have window washers, I've got a tightrope walker, I have rooftop golf, and a few people missed a few times and broke some windows. Swimming pool at the end when you're done golfing, little slushy stand, elevator so people can get up and down, airplane in the distance. So think about what you can come up with it and have fun with it. That's what the whole point is of this project.